I didn't want to pay you. You gotta leave me off. You are willing to back in the business. If the resolution is that you are willing
Like I said, I did it on Tennessee. I had so much research before I started doing it.
I have no idea.
That's exactly what I was just telling us.
Really?
Just by you saying
Yeah, that's what I mean by you. That's what I mean by you development. Yeah, so I started.
I'm not like, it is like what do you call it?
I know you're going to be
Okay, so
Opie, Harris, Hoshaw, Morse, Bernstein, Amara, Schmidgall, Green, Fry, Hardesty, Hess, Faust, Lawson, Nicholson, Ellis, Atkins, Henson, Oyapia, Crepes, Baldwin, Black, Dominic, Alexis, Rome, Montgomery, Gardner, Limke, Rivera, Gebretzidik, Benuelos, Suarez. Did he resign? Okay. Ritter, Castro, Singh, Yingling, Robinson, Brooker, Mosher, Beasley Murray, Clemens, Kesavin, Young, Stark, Hunter, Harrington, Haney, Hunt, Paredes, Lamping, Lopez, Viala, Bele, Coblin, Tran, Boyd, Dockney, Ortega, Cooper, Munthy, Chapin, Chaudhry, Brema, Other Dominic, Melee.
Okay, thank you all very much. With that, we've established our quorum. Are there any corrections or additions to be made to last cycle's minutes? Seeing none, those minutes are approved. Please join me in welcoming the mayor of Lawrence to the stand. Ready when you are.
Well, thanks for having me here. Thanks for inviting me. I don't know how long it's been since the mayor or anyone from the commission has spoke to the Student Senate, but it's very important to me. A little background. I was actually the student body vice president at the other school down the road at K-State long before most of you were alive, 95, 96. And then we did something that was never done since we ran for re-election. And so I was student body vice president 94, 95, 95, 96. And then I came here to law school and I served as the elections chair back in the 97, 98 student senate elections. And that was newspapers being stolen and spending caps and, Delta Force versus, anyway, fun time. So I'm very involved, student senate and what you guys are doing are very important to me. And so when I met the student body president I asked if I could come speak to you and hopefully get you more interested in what's going on with the city. And then more importantly, what we can do to work with you, the students in the city. And I hope this becomes an annual thing where the mayor comes and speaks to you. And I know you guys have done more to reach out and sending folks to our meetings, which we appreciated. So I'm going to say a few things about things going on, but then I'm going to open it up to questions and answer whatever questions you have. Or if you have comments that you think I should hear, I'm open to that. And at some point they'll cut us off. And but afterwards, if you want to contact me, they print my phone number in the paper every day and my emails all over the place. So you can reach out anytime. And I get a lot of emails and phone calls. So I'm always happy to hear from you. So just a couple things I wanted to talk about. Make sure you guys are aware of, get a little bit of feedback. And then, like I said, open it up to questions from you. Couple things, from our point of view, this is a very exciting time to be in Lawrence. We have a whole lot of growth going on. We have a whole lot of building going on. We've come through COVID. introduced a new development code. Hopefully, some of you heard about the new development code that allows more density, allows more people to live together, allows more duplexes, and should spur development. And people have been waiting for that. That's now in effect, and we're starting to see that. Obviously, KU's been doing a lot as well. I've said a couple times that the new convention center is probably the number one driver of sales tax that we've had in this city for 50 years. And then Costco is coming behind that, which is probably the number one driver of sales tax we've had in the city of Lawrence in 50 years. And we have both of them coming online in the same year. That's a big deal for us. The development around Costco out west. Here in the next month, we're going to have an application to annex 800 acres of land west of the SLT from the 6th Street to Clinton Lake on 23rd Street, all west of the SLT. Major residential and commercial projects going on. We have three other projects of annexation for residential property. We have a whole lot of apartments going up. Old Father Studios, the Bluffs, at 6th in Iowa, 2 different projects there. Doug Compton's talking about building something next to the wheel. There's a lot of projects. We have several projects going downtown. Of course, Q39 is about to open, which is quite exciting. But we have 2 different projects going on in downtown. We have 3 more about to be announced in parking lots and in areas around in the adjacent New Hampshire Street, the Reuter building, the Lawrence Sharon World building. Short of it is we have a whole lot of projects coming. You're going to see a lot of change. And I think a lot of growth, and that should help us in lots of ways. So that's kind of what the city's focused on. Last thing the city's focused on is we're about to hire a new city manager. Our city manager is resigning, and we'll hire a new one later this year. And that obviously has a big impact on how the city is run. And so hopefully, when you get the chance, you'll be involved in that. But things I think are maybe a little more directly related to what you're doing. And I want to be sure, get your input on it and make sure you follow it. Obviously, World Cup is coming to town. And one of the things we did as part of the World Cup is we changed our short-term rental policy so that now anyone can have a short-term rental anywhere. And there was a concern from some that it's going to displace the students, that landlords are going to kick students out in June so they can rent out the apartments or the houses to people coming into town for World Cup. I've heard from landlords who are concerned that the students are going to sublease without asking their properties to people and get top dollar. They're looking at some of these houses going for $1,000 or $1,000 a night, $700 a night. Hotel rooms are going for about $400 a night to $600 a night. So if first of all, if any of you run into problems or you are getting pressure from a landlord to move out, or if you're hearing of students getting moved out or asked to leave early or being evicted or whatever, please let us know at the city. I mean, we certainly want to open up. If the room is going to be empty, we want to open it up to visitors, but we do not want to create a situation where people are getting forced out. I don't know that it's happening, but we've had people come to us and say they've heard about it. So please let me know if you do that. But obviously the World Cup's going to be huge here this summer. We're expecting between 10 and 15,000 visitors to come. We expect a country, which will be announced later this week, to come May 30th and be here through July. They're going to have the entire Oread Hotel for that length of time, and they'll be practicing out at Rock Chalk. The rumor is Kansas City will get 3 countries. We'll have 1 country, and they expect 600,000 visitors in the Kansas City area. So it's going to be a big economic boost. It's also going to be hard on our infrastructure in the summer when students are usually gone and things slow down. And when we usually are doing road projects, we're putting a lot of those road projects off. I think some of our restaurants are concerned about not having enough workers and that sort of thing. So if you want to stay around in the summer, 1, you can rent your place out and make a lot of money, or 2, you can have a good place to work, because there'll be a lot of that going around. Switching topics, transit, always a big deal. Our joint cooperation with our bus system. We have a tax that funds that. That tax is going to be up in 2 years. Almost all the funding is a local sales tax. So, some of you won't be here, but in about a year, we're going to be putting on the ballot whether or not the community wants to keep the transit system running. And if that sales tax fails at the ballot, there's a good chance that, we will back out of our side of the funding the transit system that we do with KU. Now, last time it passed with 70% of the vote. Do I think it'll pass again? Yes. But we'll certainly want students, if it's important to you to have a bus system and a combined bus system, we'll want you guys involved in that and getting out to vote because that's going to be a big deal for us. Another thing, related to that is parking. Neighborhood parking. We are going to start for the first time a pilot program in the spring for a neighborhood parking permit system. We're going to run it on 3 streets near Naismith. I forget what's that parking lot there, right north of that parking lot, where a bunch of people park instead of paying to park and then walk up to Allen Fieldhouse and all that. We're going to run a pilot project where only the people who live there can park there and have a permit system and see how that works on controlling parking. If that works, there's going to be a big discussion about moving to residential parking permits around the community, the Oriad neighborhood and other communities. Assumedly, that will have a big effect. The most places that want it are concerned about students or concerned about people coming from out of town parking and not paying for parking on KU. So when that discussion starts up, certainly want to hear from you about your thoughts on that and the students you represent. Because if we go to that kind of model, it'll be a big change for the city, particularly around the university. So look for the pilot project in the spring and then a discussion starting next fall about whether or not we want to expand that. Then last thing I'll mention before open it up for questions is as part of the Gateway project and our Star Bond project, the university agreed to open an office of off-campus housing. And I don't know if you've heard about that. It should be it's going to be open by the fall per our agreement. And that is going to be a new office on campus where the community can reach out to KU to talk about issues they're having with students who live off campus. We also hope to create a system with KU where they create an approved list of apartments where if it passes, if the apartments meet a certain condition and the lease is fair and all of that, they'll go through a whole checklist. Your apartment building or your house can be put on an approved list. So it's kind of a voluntary way that, of course, the landlord doesn't have to be on the approved list, but if they want to be on the approved list, they have to meet certain conditions. We have residential, we do inspections of rental properties, but as many of you probably know, it's a complaint-based system and it's not very good at making all the apartments great in this town. We think this system will help and KU is going to help run that. And it's something we learned about in quite a few other cities. And so, but I assume you guys will have some impact on what that office does and what that office can do. In some communities, that office can actually, some communities, when I say that, some universities like who have honor codes, that office can actually discipline somebody for something they do off campus at a house. Like if they're not a good neighbor. I'm not saying KU is going to do that, but it's something that, there could be discussions about things and what the parameters of that off-campus housing office are. So I hope you guys are involved in that discussion as that office gets up and running. We know some things we want from the city side of it, but obviously I think the students should be weighing in on that. I could talk about a whole lot of other things we're doing. There's a lot of things going on, lots of things happening. We've obviously had some unfortunate events here in the first month of the year. We've had 3 different shootings. one inside City Hall, and obviously the one at the Hawk, as well as a domestic case, which is obviously not the way you want to start a year. But I think we'll come through those and we'll move them forward. So anyway, I could talk about a lot of different things, but I want to hear what you're interested in. Happy to answer any questions or whatever you guys want me to do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Everyone, please, who has a question, raise your hand so I can add you to the list. Okay, we're going to start with CC Hunter.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Mayor. I actually had a question specifically about the mention of shootings. Does the City of Lawrence or the Mayor's office have any protections or plans in place for any illegal ICE activity within Lawrence?
Speaker may answer.
Yes, we have so 2 years ago, we actually passed a whole ordinance on that, spent quite a bit of time on that. So we have a very lengthy agreement on that with the police and with the community. We worked with what's called Sanctuary Alliance in town to create that policy. And you can find that online. And it is, yes, it's our policy, and it addresses all those issues. Absolutely.
Okay, next we'll recognize the Vice President.
If the pilot program is a success and if you did want to expand it, is that something that you would have to put up for a referendum, or would you just be able to make it pervasive across Lawrence?
We could do it without a referendum, absolutely, legally. Would we do it? I don't know. The current plan, the current thought process is to allow either neighborhoods or blocks decide for themselves if they think it would be useful. I mean, obviously, some blocks have more parking than others. Some blocks have apartment buildings, but they all have their own parking lot. And so we don't necessarily want to create one citywide that or even, the entire Oyad neighborhood, for example. We want to do it more localized to people who want it. That, of course, is harder to administer. So we don't know the answer yet, but it probably wouldn't be a referendum, but probably the people who live on certain blocks would be able to make that decision. Big question for you guys, though, is does the owner of the house get the vote, or do the tenants in the house get the vote on whether or not you have a parking system? Typically we do things based upon ownership, but when you're talking about rental properties, do we let the tenants vote on that? And so that's something we have to work through.
You, the Vice Chair of Rights.
Uh-huh.
Thank you,
We
Mayor.
need one of these for C Commission, these things you can pass around.
My question was, are there any talks about moving the Lawrence Municipal Court to a new location, maybe outside of City Hall? Could you just elaborate more on that?
Yes, it is definitely a plan. Where it is located now is not working. We had looked at moving part of City Hall last year, and we ended up not moving to that location. We have $12 million in our capital improvement project to talk about where, specifically for that purpose. But we have not identified, at least publicly, the location of where that might be. But I would say that is going to be a hot topic in the next 4 or 5 months about what we do with not only municipal court, but maybe our city commission room. It's coming.
Great. Chair organizes Esperanza.
Thank you very much for the presentation, Mayor. Regarding the current constructions that are being built across town, are these constructions going to affect the biodiversity of the Baker wetlands, or will it be modified by any circumstances?
So there is the project was previously known as the Boston Crossing, now called 1059. I think they've renamed it. There is supposedly a new plan coming forth that will have, intentionally less impact. But will it have some impact? That's certainly going to be the discussion. I've not seen the full plan. I am told that it went from 15 acres of disturbed area to 1 acre of disturbed area. But depending on your point of view, 1 acre is an impact. But pay attention. That should probably be coming to our agenda in March, and we'll have an open meeting. So we look forward to hearing from people about that.
Speaker recognizes the Secretary of Finance Council.
That was good. Okay. Thank you for your presentation, Mayor. I would like to ask regarding your comments about making a list for housing, regarding fair housing and all that. Is this going to be in addition to the law school sort of, I want to say the Office of Admissions has sort of recommended housing as well as legal LSS's proposed blacklist on landlords engaged in unfair practices?
I think it's going to be, I don't know everything about that. I think it is going to be part and parcel of that, or in addition to what we saw in a couple other communities, and what we've been talking to the chancellor and a few others about, Julie Murray and her group, is a more robust actual inspection process. We do inspections, but we only check, what we call life safety, and we don't cite people for things that aren't quite life safety. And I think that's kind of a compromise we made, but I think we can do better. And so, but all those details are yet to be worked out. So if I'm breaking news here, it's not like I'm telling you exactly where it's going to be. It is part of the discussion. The office isn't even open yet. So everyone here will have, I assume, will have some say in that too. But
Speaker recognizes Antonique.
Hi, thank you. You did come with very valuable information. I am personally invested in the housing. Is there a way that I could get involved, or maybe are you taking testimonies? Like, I know that it is still in its beginning stages with conversation, but I'm invested and I want to participate.
Well, I would say the first thing you should do is start, however the model works here, is start talking to the chancellor's office about what exactly is going to be in that office. We're going to have some input on it, but and we have a commitment they'll open it, but we don't have a commitment on exactly what the details will be. So I have some thoughts, but I think from your end you should have some thoughts. So certainly as we get closer, we'll probably form some sort of committee from the city side, but I'm hopeful that the university will do one from their side.
Chair recognizes the Engineering Student Council Center.
Community? Yes. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. As a former student body vice president and KU alum, what advice do you have for the student senators in the room?
Take what you do very seriously. I think it's important. And I think what you learn here can affect what you do with the rest of your life. And what you do here can affect the cities you live in, but not only, if you don't end up living in Lawrence, you go someplace else, take what you learned here and make the place you live better. I mean, I am where I am now because of Student Senate. And I was a chemical engineer, and I decided I liked Student Senate better than chemical engineering. So I went to law school, and then I intentionally, I'll say this, as a K-Stater, I never thought I'd end up living in Lawrence. I'm from Wichita. But I intentionally wanted to work at a law firm where they allowed me to be involved in my community while practicing law. And the law firm I'm at, which I've been at since I graduated law school in '99, Stevens and Brand, had that reputation in this town. And we just celebrated our 100th year. And for 100 years, we've had legislators, we've had people involved. And I knew when I took that job, I could practice law, make a living, but also be in my community. And that's how I ended up being mayor. So it makes a big difference.
Yes, Chair recognizes Aiden Faust.
Would the dorms be included in the rental properties that are investigated to check the standards?
No, this would be an office of off-campus housing, so specifically off-campus.
Chair recognizes CC Hunter.
Oh, second question, okay.
I wanted to kind of ask about the projects that you mentioned
Yeah.
and see if any of those projects include any housing projects for displaced and disadvantaged adults and youth. We have a pretty large homeless population here in Lawrence, and I don't believe that the city of Lawrence has done much in the past to try to house these people. So I was wondering if there was anything in the future, especially with the economical boost that you so
Yeah.
described.
Oh, no, that's a major, actually a major part of, if you don't know, we have two different taxes. We have an affordable housing tax, and we have, last year we passed a homeless tax, specifically to work on those two issues. So I didn't mention all the affordable housing projects that were specifically for that. The ones we funded, the two that just opened are Delmore Place at Iowa, 23rd and Iowa, and the one downtown across from Maselli's. Both of those are 55 and over. But we funded the new 300 unit complex at 31st that's getting built out there by the Links and stuff, 31st and whatever that road is, Michigan. And then the big project we have coming that we've spent quite a bit of time on is a new tenants to homeowners and Habitat for Humanity project at 15th and the SLT, so way out behind Corpus Christi on the SLT. It's going to be 152 units, 300 bedrooms, all affordable, all income based. Then we have several smaller projects because we're trying to, intermix them around town. So yes, that's a major focus of ours. And I would say on the homeless issue, I was just meeting today with our consultant who's hiring the new city manager. So his job is to go around all the communities, and he said today that he's been all over the country and he has never seen a city of less than 1 million people that has an office of homeless outreach, and even less than that, to have a dedicated sales tax for homeless. So it's a pretty unique feature that we have here and that we're pretty proud of. But we have a long way to go. There's still work to be done. So that's a focus of ours.
Chair recognizes Simmer Javed.
It's okay now. It's in the same line as my previous question, but are there any provisions following the shooting at City Hall, any immediate provisions to protect the security of the personnel that work there? For example, metal detectors, something basic, as a temporary solution.
Yes, and we certainly made some changes. There'll be more facts that come out once the DA makes their decision, but what has been reported is true in that this person was basically able to break through two different locked doors. And at one point in the staircase, there's a staircase that has one of those little windows. He punched through that window, injured himself pretty badly, but he punched through that window. So we had a lot of safety things in place that he was able to get through, and so we're evaluating that. As it goes to metal detectors, that's one of the reasons we are looking at a new municipal court is that we could, and city commission, we don't have metal detectors at city commission either, that if we had a different room with one point of entrance, we could do metal detectors, and we're looking at that.
Chair recognizes Esperanza.
Second question.
Yes.
I read recently about the return of the Monarch Village in partnership with the Shelter of Family of Lawrence. Are there any updates if that will actually happen, or it's still in the works and the talks about that?
Say it again, what it is?
The Monarch Village, the set of container houses for homeless people.
Oh, yeah. So we have, we do have that. That's still under discussion. We have the village out on Michigan, and then we just added several houses, as part of our winter shelter out at the Lawrence Community Shelter. And so both of those projects are definitely something we are in place. We have had to, in this last stretch, open up an additional winter shelter at the Methodist Church downtown where they do the Jubilee Cafe. And we've been having about 20 people a night there. But we're very proud to report we've now gone 2 years, and we're hoping this will be the third year without a death. And that had not, I mean, it sounds like it's a small accomplishment, but we had many years in a row where someone would die from exposure, and we've done 2 years without the death of exposure. We're hoping to make it through this year. And so far we have, and we're hoping to get through this year and go 3 years without a single death. So having that sort of space is what makes the difference there.
Are there any, okay, there's no further questions. We'll go to CC Hunter.
Thank you. Sorry, last question, I
Hey,
promise.
that's okay.
Given
You should
the
come to
sh-
city commission. We have some people who talk all the time.
Oh,
That's
I
good.
just might. Given the shooting at City Hall, do you think it prudent that the University of Kansas also reflects on its active shooter, perhaps trainings and procedures?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this was a tragic event with somebody who was going through difficulties. It was very random, and how it occurred was very random. I mean, someone who had never been to the city of Lawrence before, we're not even sure they knew exactly where they were at the time. And so it's really hard to plan for something so random. That being said, it also shows you that you have to have, I mean, if you don't practice, if you don't think about it, bad things can happen. So even at the city commission, we've recently, again, gone through our procedures about what happens if someone shows up, at a meeting and tries to attack us or tries to attack someone in the crowd. We have 2 police officers at each of our meetings, but that doesn't prevent the first shot. So, but again, we have to continue to work on that. And I think KU has to continue to work on that. It's just, unfortunately, we live in a society now that you have to worry about those sorts of things.
All right, with that, we are out of time. Please give it up for the mayor. Thank you very much. What a great privilege for us to have such an awesome guest speaker. Thank you very much again to our mayor. With that, we move into the next order of business, officer reports. We start with our student body president.
All right, glad to be back. Glad to see a packed house. It's kind of hot in here though. So starting off strong, really busy all the way. Going to higher ed day, state higher ed day pretty soon. Have a list of involved and engaged senators who applied and RSVP'd for that. Really appreciate the involvement and the support on that. We should be, we've coordinated with the rest of the student body presidents and the rest of the student government organizations at the other schools here in Kansas and in the KBOR institutions. We're going to be advocating for a couple things around student funding, scholarships, things like that. Primarily success funding. The Board of Regents has allocated about $16 million for each of the institutions to distribute to their student success initiatives at each campus. These are largely initiatives around advising, clear major pathways, communications, just a lot of the things that maybe new college students or people who hadn't had family members in college might have trouble with initially and might be a common stop out for people who are new to the whole college experience. This was cut from their 2026 budget, but we're requesting that it's enhanced in their 2027 budget. So isn't a crazy ask. They've already allocated it before. We're just asking that it be reallocated and enhanced in their current budget this year. We're also advocating for need-based aid. Of all 50 states, Kansas is lower than the median when it comes to need-based aid that we issue for students. And there's a strong case for a certain population of student who falls above the Pell Grant cutoff line, but below the basic income that it takes to raise a family here in Kansas. So we're advocating for a more clear position from the legislature on what our position should look like when it comes to our position here in the region amongst all the 50 states. We're currently 29th. We've been jumping about 5 to 10 positions each year. At one point, we were in the 45th position. We're now in the 29th. Like I said, just looking for a more clear position and statement on where our position should be when it comes to the other states. We're also heading out to DC in a couple months to advocate with the rest of the Big 12 for issues around, again, student affordability, textbook and college affordability, and we're going to get some more color on that soon from Iowa State. I'm sitting on the provost selection committee. We've been evaluating candidates confidentially for the past couple months, but now we're at the stage of public presentations. Now the first two have already happened. Still evaluating those and staying with them through the process, but those are now public. The website of the provost office should have the schedule for the rest of the presentations. If you're interested in attending, they should have public feedback forms. They're really looking for community and student input when it comes to something like this. Very big decision, very important role here, the executive vice chancellor. So feel free to attend those, watch the presentations on the website, or however you'd like to contribute. We're also working with a telehealth platform, have been working with them for a while, but advancing conversations across the state. Mantra Health, like I said, telehealth platform that offers mental health support and general student support. CAPS engaged them earlier in the year because our previous provider was relatively expensive, offered a limited product suite, and this one is just offering a much better support system for KU, working very closely with them to get them integrated in all the other KBOR institutions here in the state. If you have experience, would like to give a testimony, would like to speak directly with the management team over at Mantra, please feel free to reach out. Again, I understand that it's somewhat of a sensitive topic, no pressure at all when it comes to that, but I think they'd really appreciate some support here from KU. I also have an appointment to make on the UDK advisory board. This isn't necessarily student senate led, but they reached out saying that their bylaws require one student senator and just wanted to extend the opportunity out there. It doesn't have to be somebody from the J school. Just looking for somebody to serve on that board. And for that, I yield the rest of my time to questions.
Great, thank you. Answer questions. Okay, we're going to start with Yvonne Dominic.
I had a question about State Higher Ed Day. Is
Yeah.
it confirmed for February 4th?
It is confirmed for February
Okay.
4th. Weather's looking fine now, but I know last year it was somewhat of an issue. We have a backup date on the 24th, but hopefully I won't even have to think about that. So
Chair recognizes Boyd.
Hi, I was just a little bit confused. Is the telehealth thing just for mental health purposes, or is it for like all telehealth, like physical or just mental?
largely mental health and counseling. It's our CAPS office that's heading it and that brought them out in the first place. But yeah, it's mental health.
Any further questions for our president? Yes. And please state your name and constituency, please.
Last name Belli, and first year senator.
Thank you.
Curious about the need-based aid specifically, like with the clearer legislation. There we go. How do you plan on collaborating with FAFSA? Like, because that is technically what determines like need-based aid. What, like with federal, like what's your
Right.
what's your
I
role
mean,
with that?
primarily we're interested in thanking them for their leaps and bounds when it comes to need-based aid. Like I said, at one point we were closer to the bottom when it came to the rest of the states, much closer to the median now. There isn't a clear plan on collaborating with FAFSA now. We'd like to just exhibit and make clear that this is an interest that we have as a KBOR institution and broadly across the Students Advisory Committee to make sure they have a clear position on that. As conversations develop, glad to bring that back to the group and see where we stand on that. But initially just exhibiting our gratitude for where we've come and exhibiting the fact that we want something more to be done.
Great. That's all the time we have for questions. So thank you to our student body president. Please welcome to the podium our student body vice president.
All right, quick one for me today. Just a quick update on parking. We've had ROMs proposed, which are basically rough order of magnitudes for multiple parking lots across campus. I think, with some of these things, it takes a lot of time. It may be a little while until we're able to see like tangible movement on the ROMs and approval from higher administration. With that being said, I think throughout the remainder of this semester, we'll start to get some good news and start to alleviate parking specifically within the center of campus. So what that looks like is, as I've talked about a lot, Oliver Hall, behind the sand volleyball courts, the green space there. And then south of lot 31 by Hogland baseball. Secondly, on the issue of homecoming, Katie Treadwell has created a more or less task force to meet semi-frequently to work on homecoming. And I'm confident that, although me and Andrew won't be able to see it through, we'll be able to impart upon the next administration a more cohesive, better event for students and alumni when homecoming comes around next year. That's it from me. I really yield the rest of my time to the chair.
Answer questions. Okay. Thank you. We do have one question. 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 Henry.
I was just gonna ask with the permit test run that we just found out about from the mayor.
You're talking about the pilot in adjacent neighborhoods too? Yeah.
How do we plan on combating that? Or like we expect an increase in parking passes, I guess, in students.
You know, I think, and when I asked him about it, I think that's not pressuring, but lobbying for a referendum so that we can turn out in the polls and strike it down. I think ultimately I think it's mainly just the neighborhoods behind the rec, if you know what I'm talking about, and then up further north, kind of in the Greek ghetto, in that area is really where they want to put it. So, you know, I think just being able to voice our opinions and try and strike it down.
Great. Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you very much to our student body vice president. All right, please welcome our graduate and student body president to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you in this very busy semester. I'd like to update you on some things that I'm working on together with the Office of Graduate and Postdoctoral Affairs. The first one is I participated in the SIAC meeting. It's basically a committee, or rather a subcommittee, that champions for students' insurance issues. So United Healthcare is the major insurance that we usually partner with for students' insurance. They are coming to the agenda this year in the annual meeting that they're having is to have an increase of 3% on the premium. With this, sometimes it comes along based on inflation, and I had a discussion with Morgan Sweslander, who leads the committee, to make sure that students' needs are basically championed with if the insurance is asking for more premium, we should also get vis-a-vis increased vis-a-vis an increase in the needs, or rather the needs that are being met for us. And she is very vocal about it. One thing that is coming along is ancillary benefits. I'd like for any one of you guys to look it up on the United Healthcare website. So students are able to get services. For example, if you need, for example, someone is in delivery and they want one of their loved ones to be flight over state, or rather from another continent, that can happen based on the basic premium that you're paying for as a student. So, and there's also underlying benefits that come along with it. You should just look it up. A lot of things are usually hidden. Second thing is also in the team that is interviewing provosts. I'm helping Andrew and the team to also do that. We've been able to interview and speak with two of the candidates, and it's going along fine. We're giving out our own opinions, and we're making sure that we champion for the needs of students and for them to know what that office really needs, what that office really requires. And the third thing that I'm working on is the hire day. We have a team 5. I think Shay, I can see you right there. Nathan. So we will be going there on Friday, February 4th, to make sure that we are championing for the needs of students. Another thing is I'm working on the second run of consensus and the library. We had our first one last semester and it was a great success. So we are having the second one on Fridays on 4th That's the particular event that usually happens. So consensus is coming along, sharing merchandise, etc. On February 6th. It's hard in here. The fourth thing that I'm working on is the fee review. So I have a team of Rivera. Angel Rivera is not here. Omowunmi. We are going to show up for deliberations, which starts this coming Monday. And we will make sure that grad students' needs are fought for, and we will make sure in our own capacity that something happens. And we are also looking forward for the Safe Ride as well, which is a very contentious issue. The fifth thing is the Office of Grad and Postdoctoral Affairs have two events that they usually push for on the spring semester. One is being 1 day, 1 KU. So this is 1 day where charity is majorly, it's a 24-hour event where charity is pushed along. Every department has their own agenda that they need funding for, and basically it's just 1 day of just making sure that we gather as much funds as possible. One thing that we are fighting for as the Office of Grad Studies is travel funding for grad students, which really helps along with whatever research people are working on. Another thing that I'm working on this semester, time's up. Okay. Can I get 2 minutes? Just.
The chair will look favorable upon motion to extend time by 2 minutes. Yes, Ugo. We have a motion to extend time by 2 minutes from you. We have a second from Ivana Stark. Without any objections, time is extended by 2 minutes for the graduate student vice president's officer report.
All right. The sixth thing is this coming week from the week after next, February 9th to 12th, the Office of Grad and Postdoctoral Affairs have a Grad Student Success Week. So this is a week majorly focusing on the soft skills that grad students need. Speak of use of AI, for example, not only in research, but also job search, time management, and research skills. So from February 9th to 12th, there'll be a whole week of such activities. You can look it up. Just look up Grad Student Success Week. And with that, I yield my time for questions.
Thank you very much. Okay, seeing no hands for questions, thank you much to our grad student vice president. With that, we welcome our treasurer.
Hello, hello. So as of the end of cycle 6, we have $23,001 remaining in the Wednesday night fund. Tonight, we've got 2 funding bills totaling $5,100. So moving off of Wednesday night, please contact any student organizations you're affiliated with and remind them to apply for the upcoming block and line applications. Both of the links to those are in my officer report and the agenda. Also, please fill out the block and line committee form if you're interested in participating in those deliberations. And then it's already been mentioned once, but I'll bring it up as well. Fee week begins next week. Nathan, the chair, will speak much more in depth and probably much more eloquently on everything than I will. But the student fee surveys posted, hearing schedules, and proxy application are all up and linked within Nathan's officer report. With that, I yield my time.
Thank you very much. Answer questions. Answer questions. Okay, thank you very much to our treasurer.
Thanks.
With that, the chair of the required student fee committee.
Hello, I hope you are all having a good start to the spring semester. With the start of the spring semester comes an annual Student Senate tradition, which is our whole required student fee process. If you don't know, we're going to be hearing presentations. Next week is fee week, so we'll be hearing presentations from all the different entities we fund, which is totaling over $24 million worth of student fees $532.50 from each of you. And we're going to be deliberating on a fee package for fiscal year 27, so the next academic year. And that funds everything from the rec, buses, Watkins Health, all sorts of things. The first thing about Fee Week, I am very excited to share that the student fee survey is now live. On the agenda today, you can click on my name and that'll have a link to this officer report, which will have a link to the student fee survey. If that's too many steps, come grab one of those flyers I have sitting up over there, hang it up wherever you want. But the survey is only open for a few more days. It closes this Friday at midnight. So if you have not filled it out, fill it out, consider one of your duties as a student senator, get your voice out there, tell your friends to fill it out, all that. It's really short, it's just a couple of minutes, and it asks some basic questions about what services you use at KU, what services are most important to you, and then any feedback you have. And that last box that asks you for any additional feedback, you can leave that blank or type NA if you don't have anything else to add. But yeah, it's the best opportunity for students to provide their feedback on the distribution and use of student fees. And our goal from that survey is just to hear from as many students as possible because it's their money at the end of the day. Another thing, you will see me back here in 2 weeks with the fee package presenting it, or maybe it's 4 weeks. It's on the Student Senate calendar. But I'll be presenting the student fee package to all of you, and you will all have a chance to look over it and hopefully approve it if it's something that we can all agree upon. Next up, our fee review hearing schedule is also available. All of these hearings are going to be public. And you're also highly encouraged to attend to learn about the plethora of things that your student fee dollars pay for and what they're requesting for next year. So that is all on the Student Senate website, and it's also linked in my officer report. If you can't make it in person, then they're going to be live streamed. These are hearings, presentations. It's not going to look like an assembly does. And I will be prioritizing our fee review committee members for questions. But I will still, if we have time, you'll also get a chance to ask questions and interact there. But definitely, if you have any interest, show up. If you are really interested and you're thinking of maybe serving on the fee review committee in the future, there's a form to fill out if you're interested in serving as a proxy. That is just for any members of the fee review committee who can't make it. You can kind of serve in their place, take notes during those hearings, ask any questions they might have, anything like that. And then our deliberations will be at the end of the week. That's also going to be live streamed. And yeah, that form is really short and sweet. Just asks for what hearings are available, and then I will contact you if you are chosen to serve as a proxy. Yeah, I'm good for questions.
Great. Answer questions. Thank you very much. Okay, Chair recognizes Nolan.
Okay, I was wondering, sorry, I just forgot my question for a second. Now I remember. Are we going to be able to get enough funding to potentially reinstate Safe Ride for next year? Is that part of your group or not?
So, am I good to answer that? Okay. Safe Ride is under the required student fee. If you want to know more details about what the required student fee looks like, what we funded in previous years, all that jazz, that is in our Student Senate budget book. If you Google that, it'll come up. So yeah, you can see the history of Safe Ride, how it's been funded in past years, how it's funded for this year, and we will be talking about every single fee. So yes, we will be talking about Safe Ride.
Chair recognizes Ivana Dominic. Sorry.
We can go back if you want.
I had a question if you had any data regarding how much of the student population has engaged with the student fee survey.
There's
Could
been a
you share
question.
that?
It seems
Yes.
there's a point
There's
of
been a
information
question about how many people filled out the fee survey. We're going to recognize our advisor for that.
I just looked and it was at 1,808 responses.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Clap it up for that. That's great.
For a point of information, last year was like 1,100 or something.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, if there's no other further questions, Chair recognizes Nolan for a follow-up.
Okay, but my question was, do we know if we have enough funding to reinstate it for like the upcoming school year, like the 2026-2027 school year?
Okay.
You can answer.
Unfortunately, I can't give you a direct yes or no answer to that. I kind of wish I could. I'm not a voting member of the committee. I'm responsible for chairing it, putting it all together, all that stuff. But what I will say here is the hearings are the best opportunity to learn about that. Looking at our budget book and looking into kind of how much we have given out historically. All those are ways to look at that. The reason I can't give you a definitive yes or no is because we have our committee members who will be deliberating about that next week on Friday, and then we're going to be the ones deciding, so that after we've got a package, then it goes to Finance Council, and then it goes to Student Assembly. So then I'll probably give you a yes or a no.
Yes, we got 3% this year, so that's great. With no further questions, thank you very much. With that, we're going to recognize the head of the Election Commission, Chair of the Elections Commission, to introduce us to a new possible replacement senator.
Hello. We're nominating somebody for the domestic graduate student senator seat. Rachel Cisneros is a global and international studies master's student and working on reviving the Latin American Graduate Organization. So they're deeply involved in student clubs, and they want to get more involved in advocating for academic resources, advising, and campus services for graduate students who are facing financial strain and excessive workloads.
Great. Any questions for the Chair of the Elections Commission? Yes, we'll start with you want it, Dominic.
Are they here and able to introduce themselves to the group?
Yes. Yeah, we'll let you introduce yourself in a second. Questions for Chair of EC Aiden. Okay, great. With that, thank you very much. We're gonna recognize Rachel to introduce yourself to us all.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Cisneros. I'm a graduate student here, like he said, in the Global International Studies program. This is only my second semester at KU, and I graduated from Wichita State University, and I'm from Kansas City.
Very nice, very nice. Okay. Do we have any questions for our candidate? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. Sit down. Clap it up, clap it up. Okay. Chair would look favorably upon, if there's no informal discussion, a motion to acclimate. Chair recognizes Sean Lawson. We have a motion to acclimate from Sean Lawson. We have a second from Silas Baldwin. Therefore, the poll will be posted on acclimating Rachel Cisneros as a graduate domestic senator. This requires, if this fails, then they will not be acclimated. But yeah, that is posted. So you have 90 seconds to vote. Please begin voting. Also, thank you guys for closing your laptops when we had our guest speaker. Let's keep that for other assemblies. Okay, so with time elapsed, please join me in welcoming Rachel to Student Senate. Okay, with that, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, University Senate elections. We've had 3 people resign from University Senate, 2 undergrad, 1 grad. And so we will have openings then for 2 undergrad, 1 grad. Yeah, we actually, I do believe we only have 1 person present who could possibly be eligible for the graduate seat. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So if you are available at 3:15 on Thursdays, once a month, Teams. University Senate is the Senate over, or 3:30, excuse me, on Teams. University Senate is the Senate that oversees Student Senate, Faculty Senate, Staff Senate. You get to hear from cool people like the Provost, like the Chief Financial Officer, like Travis Goff. So it's a good time. Important rules to go there, and we need our student representation there. And so, do we have any nominations? You can nominate yourself. Keep in mind that as well. Any nominations from the floor for University Senate seats? Yes, Ivana Dominic.
I know, point of parliamentary inquiry. Could you
Mhm.
please clarify the requirements to be eligible to serve on University Senate?
Chair organizes the Snowby Vice President to give some commentary on that.
Yeah, you just have to be a university senator already to be. Oh, sorry, that's for Senex. You have to be in student senate.
Yes, you just have any member of Student Senate. Any student. Yeah. Any. Sorry, you do not have to be a member of Student Senate to be on University Senate. You just have to be elected by us. So if you're available, you should nominate yourself. Do we have any nominations on the floor?
I nominate Arya Biala.
Okay, we have Lane has nominated Aryav. Aryav, we have a second for Sean Lawson. Aryav, do you accept? Where is? Oh, Aryav, do you accept this nomination? Okay, we have 1 nomination. Chair recognizes Valerie Boyd. All right, Wadasi, do you accept? Okay. Chair recognizes Tanya. Okay. Ugo, do you accept? Okay, and then. Okay. Chair recognizes the Associate State of Finance. Okay, Evan Hers. Where's Evan? Oh, Evan, do you accept? Okay, you're right. If there's no other nominations from anyone else, Yvonne Dominic can make a, I guess you didn't. Yeah, Yvonne Dominic. Yeah. Chris Cooper, do you accept? Okay, so that we do have more than, well, we were having 3. And then Frederick? Great. Okay, so Rachel, do you accept? Awesome. Okay, so if there's no further nominations on the floor, we have 4 possible undergraduates and 1 graduate. So then, since we do not have, it's a no contest for the graduate. Yeah, that's fine. Do we have unanimous consent to acclimate Rachel Cisneros as the university senator? Or yes, Tanya. Oh, okay, great. With no with no objections, Rachel, welcome to the University Senate. Yes, perfect. Okay, so with that, since it's a multiple preference election, but we do have more than the preference. Just putting this out there first, we're thinking about this. You will vote for 3 people in this election, but we will go into then speeches. So if we can have all of the candidates leave the room except for Arya. What do you mean? Oh, yes, Chair recognizes Lane. Minutes? Sorry, I misspoke. There are two undergraduate seats, so you'll select up to 2.
Or someone else. Do you feel like this is needed to? Didn't Joel drop in the middle of the year?
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
I mean, we can.
We can talk about it.
Only if that's helpful. But okay, so you're going to have 3 minutes to speech and also answer questions. So ready when you are.
All right. All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Aryav Biala. I'm a freshman at the University of Kansas. I'm very, very honored to be one of the 5 first-year senators elected this cycle, and I am very, very excited to announce my candidacy for the University Senate. I'm privileged to be nominated by my friend Lane, who is also currently serving in the University Senate, and through Lane, I've gained a decent amount of exposure to the practices of this organization. I've been coming to Finance Council since before I was even elected. It was one of the first organizations that I joined at the University of Kansas, because I've always had a love for all things procedural, parliamentary, and pre-law, finance and political science. And after those first 2 sessions and I got my voting rights, I fell in love. And I knew that the Alderson Auditorium is where I belong. As a member of the Student Senate, I ran and I got elected, and I've just been happy every single Wednesday showing up and representing KU's rapidly growing undergraduate population. As a university senator, I intend to bring that same representation and that same powerful voice of not just our undergraduates, but our underclassmen, making sure that we, as the rapidly growing population that we are getting the representation that we need, not just from the business school, but from class and from other disciplines like journalism and even like the pre-medicine and pharmacy organizations. As many connections that I have across these organizations, I'm involved multiculturally, I'm involved super interdisciplinary, I have this double major across all sorts of different organizations. And I'm willing to bring this diverse set of voices that I gain exposure to every single day to an organization like the University Senate. So I ask humbly for your vote and your consideration as one of the 2 undergraduates to represent in the University Senate. Thank you.
Answer questions. Answer questions. Answer questions. Yes, student body vice president.
Are you free on the 3rd Thursday of every month at 3?
Questions been asked about the candidate's availability. Candidate may answer.
Absolutely, I am.
All right, candidate is available at that time. Wonderful. Do we have any further questions? Seeing no further questions, thank you very much. Please leave the room and get Wadasi. Wadasi. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Udasi. I'm interested in this because I'm a freshman and I really want to get my feet into KU, really get involved in like different offices. I'm on the SAPEC advisory board as well, and I feel like it would give me an opportunity to really get a plethora of viewpoints from different populations that I don't necessarily interact with, like in my academic journey or extracurriculars. I know I'm new, I don't have a lot of experience to share, but at least having like a fresh and new perspective and voice is really important in anything that I pursue. So that's why it's important to me and why I would like to join this board.
Thank you very much. Hands for questions. Yes, student body vice president.
Are you free on the 3rd Thursday of
Questions
every
asked about the candidate's availability. Candidate may answer.
Yes, I am.
Great. Candidate is available then. Ivana Dominic, and then chair recognizes Ivana Dominic.
You said you're kind of new to Student Senate. Do you have any ideas potentially for what you would bring to this committee or kind of what you would be doing as far as your roles and responsibilities?
Questions been asked about the ideas in University Senate. Candidate may answer.
I'm very open-minded. I think that's one of my main traits that would be important, although it's very generic. I think the fact that I'm open-minded, can help with understanding different point of views and be really empathetic. And also something that sparked my interest was the fact that I could talk to the chancellor. And I've had different people come to me because of my involvement in Student Senate, and they don't have a space to where they can voice their opinion and get it to someone who can actually has the power to make the change. So I think like getting that would be important.
Chair recognizes Rome.
Yes, my question just goes back to what Ivana just said. Is there any like specific policies that you want to push forward if you're elected to University Senate?
Questions been asked about the nominees' policies. Nominee may answer.
Not anything in particular, but I think as they come up, I'm willing to listen and hear it out.
Great. Nominees willing to listen. There was another yes. Chair recognizes Sasha Sharman. Never mind. Okay. Any further questions? Great. With that, thank you very much, and please get Ugo. Ready when you are.
My mother always said, third's time the charm. So I think hopefully she was right on that. My name's Ugo Yafia. I am an education student senator. I try my hardest to be active here at Student Senate, although I have ever conflicting commitments at times. I truly believe that we can pass change here. I mean, I could give you a long posturing speech on the specific the specific policy I'm about to pass in the University Senate, but I truly don't know. But I can promise you one thing. If you do elect me, hopefully, I will not give up running, okay? You're going to see me back here when another seat opens. You're going to see Ugo Yafia right up here trying to beg you to vote for me once more. But main thing is, I keep on believing that we can pass things here in student government and we can have change on campus. And I'm sure all my opponents believe the same thing. But if you know anything about me, you'll know I will go to crazy lengths to get some change passed. So thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, yes, Stark.
Are you free on the third?
Questions been asked about the candidate's availability. Can I answer, nominee?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, they are free then. Chair recognizes Sahej. Questions been asked about the links the nominee will go to be in Uni Senate. The candidate is not answering that question. Further questions. Chair recognizes Ivana Dominic.
What plans or initiatives do you have that you would like to introduce to University Senate if elected for this position?
Well, if elected, one of my main concerns is making sure that our foreign national population here at KU are protected, and also our DACA students here at KU are protected, and more in general, our minority students and the most, I guess, the most unrepresented students here at Student Senate are, protected in University Senate. Once again, I don't have I'm not gonna pretend like I have one specific plan I'm about to pass, but I will find one, okay, in due time.
Chair recognizes Rome.
Great speech, Ugo. My question for you is, other than your passions or being involved in Student Senate, what qualifications and experiences do you believe that you hold that make you prepared to be able to negotiate with this administration and be a part of the University Senate?
Questions been asked about. I'm sure you can't. Nominee may answer.
Well, I mean, you can look at my LinkedIn to begin with, but aside from that, Settleplex, please add me on LinkedIn. But aside from that, the main thing is, I think I'm well qualified to at least try my hardest to attempt to work with government and to work with university governments to pass this more than my other legislators, because if you haven't noticed, I happen to be up here an awful lot, okay, which may be a little too much for my own good. And you can't say involvement may not be like a main qualifier, but my biggest fear is electing a university senator that won't pass anything. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. Please give it up for Ugo and get Chris Cooper. Right when you are.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper. I think most of you at least have heard from me this year. I am running for this semester because last semester I had a class at this time, but this semester I'm free. And I am the community senator for OSTEM, so I'm the senator for career students in STEM. This is my second year in Senate. I am in the Community Affairs Council. I think the good thing about me is that I am good at speaking up when I think something is wrong or something could be better. And so if I am elected to University Senate, that's what I'll do. I'll go there, and if I think something is wrong or I think something is better, I won't hesitate to speak and share my voice and make sure that our interests are represented in the Senate. I'll use my time to questions.
Great. Yes, Chair recognizes Yvonne Dominic.
Based on your experience in Student Senate and OSTEM, how do you think the skills and qualifications that you've bolstered will help you serve in a position like a University Senate seat?
Question's been asked about the nominees scaling for their skills in Senate and OSTEM. Nominee may answer.
So I sometimes struggle with speaking and just like getting out there, I have anxiety. And so I think just all this experience has helped me to be more comfortable with speaking and making my voice heard. I feel like I've gotten a lot better at that through my time being on the exec board for OSTEM and my time in the Senate. And that is, I think, the main way that it's helped me. And also just understanding procedurally how these things work and how to read the Constitution critically and understand what is going on at any point in time.
Great. Hands for questions. Okay. Thank you Okay. With no Yvonne Dominic, yes.
Are there any plans or initiatives or things that you're really passionate about that you would like to share with University Senate?
Questions passed about the nominees initiatives, possibly.
Not really. I mean, my constituency is career students, and that would be my number one priority on the University Senate is if I see anything that could be better in that regard, I will work on that. But really anything that I think could be better for students or better just in general, I will focus on that. I don't have any specific big plans.
Okay, with no further questions, thank you very much. Please exit the chamber and stay out there until we call on you guys again. Okay, so with that, we're going to move into informal discussion. Can I get hands for informal discussion? Hands for informal discussion. Okay, Chair recognizes Tanya.
For two today. Let's go. Okay. I would like to say that Ugo has done an exceptional job, like last, I want to say in the latter part of last year, as well as, just early this year, even like cycle 7, trying to get things proposed that do well for students. I sponsored a resolution with him. He is very invested and just thoroughly researching everything he does and making sure that he's doing what's well for the student body. And he has so many intersections in terms of the educational communities he's aligned with. He's also an international student and just has a very well-rounded student experience that I do think University Senate would benefit from, especially considering how outgoing he's been with it, trying to promote better change for the student body.
Okay, hands. We're gonna go Boyd and Hunter.
I just want to say, I believe this is Wudasi, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is Wudasi's second time running for University Senate. I'm pretty sure she ran first semester and she didn't get it then, but she has come back and she's clearly still engaged with it. She still clearly sees it as a high value and she's got the time to do it. I believe that from what I know, I went to high school with her. I've known her for a pretty long time, but she's very committed to what she does. She was the president of our BSU in high school. I mean, she's very committed. She shows up a lot. So if you want somebody who's committed to what they're doing, Wudasi's your person.
Great. Chair recognizes CC Hunter.
I wanted to speak on behalf of Chris. I've known Chris since I joined the Community Affairs Council last spring. They have always been a very positive person to work with. They've been behind a lot of initiatives and legislation and resolutions and amendments. They are not only committed, but they are an active participant, not just in councils, but also in General Assembly, which is especially rare. They've been in Senate for a very long time. They have a lot of experience in it, and I truly think that they would have a lot to add to University Senate.
Chair recognizes Aiden.
I'd like to speak on behalf of Hugo. I've worked with Hugo quite a bit. We currently have a resolution that I hope everyone will see in 2 weeks. But he, as was mentioned earlier, he's at the intersection of a lot of different capacities. He works with global international studies. He works in education as a parent in his role as an education senator. He's involved in a number of things in his community that it would take probably a full minute to list them all. I'd probably still miss some. So if you want someone who can represent a diverse sect of people, Hugo is your guy. And he's clearly committed. As he's mentioned, 3rd time's the charm. He's run for this position 3 different times. And we'll see if he gets it this time.
Chair recognizes Rome.
I'd like to speak up on behalf of Aryav. I think that what Aryav has said in his speech, he's shown he has a deep commitment to Student Senate. He's shown up to councils even before being elected, and he's always been able to work hard and have a set vision on everything. I've been working with Aryav through many different things. I've known him for a little while, but I think that Aryav is a great worker and a great senator, and he'd be a great candidate of choice for this role.
Chair recognizes Sasha.
I think you have a great roster of candidates. I think whoever you pick will be good, but I want to speak about Chris. I got to serve on University Senate of Chris last year and on Constitutional Review, and University Senate is very detailed. Every day on Constitutional Review, they would be one of the only people finding typos, finding differences between the new Constitution and the old Constitution that we had overlooked. They're very, very detail oriented. They were also one of the only students that continually spoke up in University Senate. There were 12 of us, and I think it was mostly me and Chris doing most of the contributions. And so and Ivana. But they were always there, always showed up, and always willing to speak on behalf of student interests.
Chair recognizes Lane.
Hi, I would just like to take a second to speak in favor of Aryav. Although he hasn't been on Student Senate for as long as some of the other candidates for this position due to the fact that he's a freshman, he is a very, I believe, well-spoken individual, and I believe he is extremely fit for this role. In fact, when I ran for University Senate last semester, I actually really wanted to nominate him for the position. However, he then had a conflict, which he no longer has that conflict. But for that reason, he nominated me. I'm very thankful to be serving now. But I really do think that he is one of the best choices we can make for this position. And secondly, I would like to speak in support of my admiration of Ugo. He goes for it. I admire how involved he is, and I think he would also make a good candidate.
Chair recognizes Sean. Nice. Nice.
All right. I would also like to speak on behalf of Aryav. Throughout the entire year, he's been very involved in Senate. Even from the beginning of the year, he was showing up to meetings, asking how to get more involved. And seeing that come from a freshman is really good. And I want someone like that to get as involved in Senate as they're willing to. That's a really good investment for future years. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Ivana Dominic.
I think all of the candidates that have presented before us today are very strong
As someone who has been on University Senate for the past 3 years and now serves as the University Senate Vice President, I would like to speak on behalf of Chris Cooper. They are incredibly dedicated and very driven in what they do, especially given the resignations that we've seen in a lot of the committees this year. I think it'd be really nice to have a seasoned individual with a lot of experience, especially someone that knows the ins and outs of the Constitution and a lot of the other documents. I think they'd be a phenomenal fit. And like others have mentioned, they are always going above and beyond in every committee. Last year, when I worked on the Student Senate Inventory Closet, Chris went above and beyond to really promote that within their own organizations. And they also really represent a diverse demographic of students, being a part of the queer community. And unfortunately, as much as I don't like to admit it, I don't feel like students have as much of a voice on University Senate, which is something that I would like to see changed. But I know, especially with having more representation from queer students, I think that's a really powerful avenue and something that University Senate could definitely benefit from, especially being in front of such powerful individuals like the provost and chancellor, which is why I'm extraordinarily recommending Chris for this position, because I know they will put in the time and effort. And also, given that they've done it before, they can absolutely finish out the year strong and leave a good impression for all students that we can and we will stay in these positions.
All right, seeing no further discussion, if we could have our candidates come back in. Someone, Alexis, if you'd like to bring them back in, please. Thank you. And I have an exciting announcement for us. Remember when I said that we were going to vote on 3 undergraduate university seats? That's because we had another university senator resign due to a scheduling issue, and so you will be voting for up to three candidates. And so that poll is now live. You have 90 seconds to vote. Remember that if you are one of the people that is nominated for University Senate, that doesn't preclude you from voting. You may still vote. And also, our new graduate domestic senator, if you have any problems with teams, please let us know. Or decorum voting, please. Okay. Let's see. All right, that poll is closed. Please join me in welcoming Aryav, Chris, and Ugo to University Senate. Great. Okay, that moves us into our next item on the agenda. we do have one undergraduate university Senate Executive Committee seat open. This has to be someone who is on University Senate, undergraduate specifically. So you can only draw from University Senate candidates. Senex is the highest body in shared governance and meets at
Tuesdays at 3:30, third Tuesday of every month.
third Tuesday of every month, 3:30 online. Yes, online. Do we have any nominations on the floor for Senex? Yes, Aiden Faust. Sasha Sharman has been nominated. Oh, okay. The second for Sasha Sharman by Kay Eckert. Tanya? Okay, we have one nomination for Sasha, one nomination for Ugo. Do we have any other nominations on the floor? Yes. ma'am.
Alexis Dominique.
Okay, we have one nomination for Sasha, one nomination for Ugo, one nomination for Alexis. Any further nominations on the floor? Going once, going twice. Sold. Okay, 3 nominations, 1 seat. Sasha, please go to the podium, and Ugo and Alexis, please exit the chamber. All right, please direct your attention to Sasha.
Hello, everyone. I'm currently on University Senate. I served on Senex last year. I couldn't do it because of conflict with my schedule last semester. But I feel like University Senex is one of the most important institutions we have in shared governance. It sets the agenda for what goes on to University Senate. In the past 2 meetings at University Senate, pretty much the only thing that's been on new business is program discontinuances and some like dialogue about the union. This is not what a functioning shared governance body looks like. And we need people in Senex that are willing to put forward new business that reshapes the agenda, reshapes what we are advocating for as students. There's a couple things that are coming up that are very important in University Senate. One, the provost is speaking next week, or tomorrow actually, and the chancellor is speaking next week. Those are going to be very important sort of moments for us to present our legislation, present who we are as students, and what we think the future of shared governance should look like. There's a couple things that I want to work with in this term, in this last semester on Senex. I want to work with students in University Senate specifically to start a student first agenda in University Senex. That means writing legislation that we are going to be put before them. The president of University Senate also gets meetings with the chancellor. So if we can set the agenda of University Senate, we can set the agenda of the chancellor's meetings, which I think is an incredible power that we don't get that often. There's a couple of things that I want to work on specifically. Administrative cost sharing. I think that admin should take on a lot of infrastructure costs that Student Senate currently pays for. Student Senate is paying for way too much, and it means that we can't provide student services. I also want more gateway district oversight. Last year we asked some questions and we didn't really get satisfactory responses. I think I'd be good in this position. Last year when there was a provost search, Senex got sit in on that, and I went and I tabled in the pharmacy school, which they were, or not a provost search, a dean search. They were searching for the pharmacy dean. Went and tabled in the pharmacy school, which is way out on West Campus, got the perspective of pharmacy candidates. I think that connecting to the students and sort of making that bridge between Senex, which is kind of an institution that people don't really interact with much, and is very important.
Wonderful. Do we have questions for our nominee? Okay, seeing no questions, thank you very much. Please get Ugo. Thanks, Henry.
Hello. Yeah, I think I just did the prep walk, but aside from that, why should we elect Ugo for Senex compared to the other 2 very astoundingly qualified individuals? And what differently does Ugo bring to Senex? Once again, I believe so much in student government's ability to pass things and to pass policy that is actually actionable to our community. My entire life so far has been dedicated, well, not to my own material chase of money, but to my material chase of the high that I get when I finally pass a policy, which is a little odd. In such pursuits, I have ended up interning in Topeka. I think a key argument for SenX is we need a really nice form to kind of bridge student governance with, I'd say, leadership in Topeka in a more actionable manner. I don't think we currently have the full bridges. We do have some bridges, but the bridges to the road to Topeka are very, very limited. I think the only thing that differentiates me from the other two very qualified people that God knows that feels like a David versus Goliath against, but the only key differentiator I have is, well, I'm going to be in Topeka for the next, I guess, 3 years of my life here at KU. And the question you must ask is, do you want someone who's going to probably be split between these two roads and be able to bridge information? Or do you want people with less information about Topeka than myself? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hands for questions? Yes, Samir Javed.
Thank you. My question is, please mind my.
Go for it.
You don't take it seriously, but why do you think that you would be more capable of conveying the needs of Student Senate and KU as opposed to the official lobbyist or other paid positions to which that is their entire job is to advocate for these things? And
Questions been asked about advocating in Topeka. Candidate may answer.
Once again, my main thing is not per se advocating, but like I said, there are many bridges to Topeka, many official bridges and many unofficial bridges. I think we kind of have information starvation here at KU in regards to Topeka. For example, today the House passed a bill that would get rid of gender-neutral bathrooms, and very soon we won't see any gender-neutral bathrooms here on KU's campus.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. Please get Alexis.
All right, what's up? My name's Alexis Dominic. I'll keep it short and sweet. I know we're running pretty late tonight. My name's Alexis. Like I said, I'm a sophomore. This is my second year in Student Senate. Last year, I was a first-year senator. This year, I'm in the School of Engineering. I've had the privilege of being on, I'm blanking on it, not Senex.
University Senate.
University Senate, that's it. Yes, thank you. This last year, and it's been a blast. I'm pretty involved in campus, and I'm looking to further my involvement. I now open the floor to questions.
Great. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Oh, yeah. Wait, we have one question from the chair of rights.
thank you. Are there any initiatives that you've been a part of that you would want to bring forth to SenX, or are there just any other experiences that you could talk about?
Questions been asked about the nominees' initiatives or experiences. Nominee may answer.
Initiatives, not a ton at present, but like I said, I've been on Senate for 2 years now, and I've had a lot of experience looking through legislation. And so, yeah, I think I have a lot of students' interests at heart, and I'm looking to bring that onto the SenX board, I guess. Yeah. Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, thank you very much. Please exit the chamber and we'll call everyone back in later. Let's just get some preliminary hands for discussion. Oh boy. Okay.
She's already on.
Um, Aiden, Cooper. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna work clockwise. Well, yeah, that'd be counterclockwise to everyone else on my bad team. Okay, so Chair recognizes the Child Affairs Director.
They're all very capable candidates, but I would just like to say that Sasha is my GOAT. This is a role in which I think institutional knowledge is really important, and they literally know everything that there is to know about every single committee of shared governance. And I also think that Sasha is the kind of person that admin fears, and that's what we need in Student Senate. Vote Sasha. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chair Wrights.
Though I agree that Sasha had a lot of points, and he sounded very resolute in what he wanted, and he had active things to talk about. I did raise my hand to actually advocate for Alexis. She's a great person in my council. She talks a lot, and she's very intuitive and very inquisitive about a lot of legislation and things that are passed, which is a trait that I always admire and a trait that I think would do good in Senex. So yeah, I would say give Alexis a shot.
Great.
That's it.
Chair of Finance, please.
I think Sasha is really underselling themselves. They are one of the most prudent, impartial, and thoughtful people I've worked with in 3 years in Student Senate. There's nobody involved with Student Senate that I think has a stronger understanding or more involvement or more dedication to shared governance, just from everything that they've done through their involvement here at Student Senate. You might not have had the opportunity to really speak with Sasha much or seen what they've done, as a lot of the things that the Elections Commission does is behind the scenes. But I don't think that any one of you is going to regret this opportunity to have Sasha get their voice out there for university policy.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Rome. Oh, yes, Rome. I can repeat your question if you don't get a catch box. Okay, great.
Yes, I would just like to, I'll stand up. I like to put my support out for Alexis Dominic. I've known Alexis for a few years. She's a great leader who doesn't only care about the position or the title. She actually truly deeply cares and is committed to her role, and she really works to be outspoken for others. I've been in the same committee as Alexis, and she's always caring about what legislation is passing, always asking the right questions, always making sure to be there. And she really is truly deeply committed and cared. She is honestly overqualified, in my opinion, for this role. She's always being able to put the work in as a great leader and really truly outspoken. And I truly think that Alexis will be one of the great choice for this role. Thank you.
Okay. Can we get hands on this side of the room? Oh yes, Henry.
Always try and stay impartial in these kind of things. However, I would like to say that Alexis is an incredibly diligent, hardworking individual, and I back her fully.
Thank you. Okay, hands on this side of the room, please. Again, okay. Yes, let's do Chris and then Aiden.
So I'd like to speak for Sasha. I think I have a lot of the same points that have been said about them, but I served with them on the Constitutional Review Committee last year, and one of the things we looked at was the relation of the Constitution with regards to shared governance and the University Senate Constitution. And whenever we had questions about that, they were who we went to, because I think that they are probably the most knowledgeable person about shared governance and University Senate in this whole body. And certainly they were in that room last year with a lot of qualified individuals, including the speaker last year who knew a lot. But yep, I would like to speak for Sasha.
Great, thank you. Okay, Aiden Faust.
First, I'd like to speak in favor of Sasha, but I'd like to start out with a story from earlier. I was talking to Kate about a funding issue, and she said a quote that I think will resonate with everyone. Is if Sasha says something, it's probably right. Sasha is extremely knowledgeable on the governance of KU. And they don't just know things, but they put their money where their mouth is. Yesterday, I spent probably 20-30 minutes talking to Sasha about things regarding fee and infrastructure, which Sasha mentioned in their speech about wanting to shift things. Also, I'm aware that it's important to lobby I am Sasha's debate partner for KU, where Sasha is able to give very good, convincing speeches against people who spend very large amounts of time, like a concerning amount of time, and sometimes beat them. Sasha is able to convince people that they are right, and it's because they always are, or almost always are. And so I can't see anyone voting for anyone but Sasha.
Okay, not seeing any other hands for informal discussion. If we could have someone please bring the nominees back in the room. All right, is that poll? Do you want them to? Yeah, poll is live. You 90 seconds. Let's get these votes in so we can move on to some legislation. Tying up the chair. 30 seconds left. Okay, that poll is now closed. Please join me in welcoming Sasha Sharman into Synex. All right, and with that, we move into some legislation. And so if we could have, okay, one moment. Hey, did I put Chome or music first?
Music.
That's what I thought. If we could have the College Music Society please come up. Present. Pulling up your presentation for you now. Ready when you do.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
You got
this
the
is the new
updated
one.
one?
Yep.
Nice, thank you.
All right, please direct your attention to our presenters.
Hi, everyone. We're here from the KU College Music Society. My name is Veerle. I'm Madeline. A quick slide about what CMS is. The College Music Society is an international organization connecting collegiate and independent musicians and scholars. It covers a wide array of disciplines in music, music technology, pedagogy, performance, research, and more. It is a leader in advancing higher education in music, and it addresses concerns and changes happening in higher education through conferences, which one of those we hosted last school year here. We did Midwest conference of CMS.
seminars, trainings, and cohorts, and it's forging the future of music in higher education. Some events that we held so far here at KU. Last year, Evan Wong, a concert pianist, came to KU to play and to give master classes to the piano department. And our bigger event was the 2025 Central Chapter Conference that was partly funded by the Student Senate. And it invited many guest speakers. Two of the bigger names were Dr. Mary Young, a choir conductor from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and composer Lei Liang from Harvard University, who's a pretty big name in the new music scene.
All right, so we're here today asking for funding for our upcoming event, which is bringing our guest artist to Lucy Shelton here to KU for the next week. Lucy Shelton is a faculty at Manhattan School of Music. She focuses on contemporary vocal performance. She is super well known. She was just touring in Europe. Right after she comes here, she's going to be premiering an opera at the Met. So like she's this really big name that we have coming. We're really fortunate to have her coming. She will be performing with KU students, some of which are here today. She'll be performing Arnold Schoenberg's Pierrot Lunaire, which is a really important piece in the music theory repertoire. It's like the first atonal piece that's kind of this big thing. So, and then she will be giving master classes to vocal students, as well as a lecture on her very like unique way of approaching music to vocal students as well as composition students. And then she will be giving two performances, one of which will be given to a Rec 100 class, which is a class of undergraduate music students. There will be like 70 to 100 students there who will benefit from this. And then as well as a nighttime performance, which will be available to all students and community members as well. This is going to reach like a lot of our School of Music, and it's a really big deal to have her here. So we're super excited for that.
So Madeline has briefly talked about some of the benefits that would come to the KU students and to Lawrence as a community. For the School of Music, we've mentioned the composition students, the opera vocal students who will be working one-on-one with her to learn techniques such as Sprechstimme, which is a part of this Pierrot Lunaire piece, as well as how to write for the voice coming from a vocal professional. The Rec 100 class will be for undergraduate students, which is required of their degree, and it's also open to any other KU students who aren't in that course at the time. But the evening class or the evening performance will be preceded by a presentation by recently retired Dr. Laird, who will be talking about the history and its impact of the piece in the span of music as a whole. This will allow our students not only to work with a professional, but to create networking and long-lasting relationships with people that are not in Kansas, so New York being the main one, through Lucy. 5 of the KU students, including the 3 of us, and we have our cellist also in the back, will be performing with her not only on Pierrot Lunaire, but on 2 other pieces, and then she'll be presenting a solo work for voice as well. So as for the funding, her honorarium is originally $5,000. We did negotiate that down to $4,000, which is what we're asking for help to cover this evening. Other funding that we've received through the KU School of Music is from the KU bands, the KU orchestras, the KU performance department, and the KU woodwinds. So all of those together are around $1,300, which will cover her hotels, her flight to and from New York, as well as any food and transportation while she's here next week, as well as a videographer and a photographer during the whole event. So she is flying in Monday morning, and she'll fly out the following, next Friday.
Yeah, we had some questions last week, so quickly wanted to address those. Why is the project so soon? And we don't have more time to look for money. because of Lucy's agenda, she's just this very well-known artist that has very limited options. So it was kind of a now or never situation. When did we start looking for funding? It started right when we made the decision last November, and at the end of November. And with the big break in between, we've been kind of like fighting time. What happens if we don't get it funded by the Senate? Well, a lot of it will have to come from our own pockets. And what have we done so far to get funding from other places? We went to the dean of the School of Music, who could give us $0. We went to separate studios like Discuss, the KU Woodwinds, the Performance Studio, and we've also set up a GoFundMe to help cover smaller amounts of money, like the last line here. Yeah. So if there's any other questions, we're happy to answer those. Thank you.
Great. Okay, hands for questions for the presenters. Hands for, okay, we'll start over here, this way.
Thank you for the presentation. Assuming that you weren't to get funded by Senate and if the money was to come from out of your own pocket, what could you use that money for instead of like funding this? Funding, sorry, the performer that's coming, I believe is.
Sorry, could you clarify? Like, so if we didn't receive funding, it would
Mhm.
come from our individual
Yeah.
pockets?
Yeah.
Would we use money if we didn't
Yeah.
receive funding? Or just like rent?
Not.
Or
Oh, you're saying like, okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Any other further
Thanks.
questions for presenters? Yes, Stark.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. You can hear me clearly, right? Okay, it's been a long day. I don't feel like screaming. This might be more of a mundane, possibly a dumb question. I did want to ask, possibly for the honorarium, for it being $4,000, were you able to ask the School of Music to fund for maybe half of it and the other half would be provided by Senate, or did they stick with just the 1,300 that you got? Thank you.
Questions asked about the honorarium, presenters may answer.
So the dean of the School of Music could give us none, and that's why we went to our separate professors. So yes, the 1,300 is all that the School of Music could give us. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes, Chair recognizes Victoria Hunter.
Will these events be recorded for students that potentially won't be able to make them so that they could watch them at a later date?
Questions asked about the recordings, presenters
Yes,
may answer.
there will be a live stream and it will be recorded by KU students from the film and photography department. Yeah.
Okay, seeing no further questions, thank you very much. Chair recognizes Chair Wrights.
My question is actually for the treasurer or our advisors. My question is logistically, would we be able to fulfill this ask with it being very soon?
We have a request for information about the fulfillment timeline. We're going to recognize our advisor in the back.
As long as they're okay with receiving the funding after the event, we're good to go.
Great. Chair recognizes CC Hunter.
Motion to vote?
We have a motion to vote. We have a second from Rome. And that, or I'm sorry, we have a call, previous question. Handle, all in favor of ending debate and triggering an immediate vote, please raise your hand. Thank you. Lower your hands. All opposed, raise your hand. Great. We will now vote on the actual item on the agenda. Poll is posted.
Did she just come back? Did you see this?
November.
Oh my god.
I did actually did
what
the same thing.
fuck?
I did the same thing earlier today.
Where's your They ask if you want one. What would you say? Yeah, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I can't. That's why people who were never involved.
Okay, so that poll is now closed. Yeah, now it is. The poll is closed with a result of 30 approved, 1 opposed, 1 abstention. This motion clearly passes. Okay, next up is presenters KU Montreal. She recognizes Rome. Yeah. Sorry. Model UN. I always get you guys mixed up. Please come present. This is Bill 2026-053. Ready when you are.
Can we put it on full screen? Yeah. Greetings, everybody. I'm Estrella Hernandez. I'm the president of Kansas Model UN, and I'll try to keep this as short as possible as we know we're all tired today. First, to give you a little introduction to our club, of course, we relate to the United Nations and try to involve ourselves with concepts of international policy and things of the sort. In the recent year, we've been able to expand what our club does. As you can see in these images, we've been lucky to host people such as 29th District Judge Tony Martinez, who was able to come here to be a keynote speaker for a high school conference, Hockman, which we host yearly. We also do our best to reach out to the local community, as the Midwest is deeply underfunded when it comes to the Model UN type of debate within the high schools. So we've been able to reach out to a lot of high schools and get them involved and start chapters within their own groups in order to associate themselves with this wonderful form of debate that in the collegiate sphere gives you such a large traction of network. As you can see from one of the pictures above, this is one of the instances we've gone to a local high school where we were able to fully develop them and get them introduced to what Model UN is and how the parliament procedure for it is. There's also just a little picture from when my own club was able to luckily be able to go and compete at LA, as we do also try to make ourselves accessible to the general student body by not requiring student fees and making sure we can give at least a chance to everybody to become involved and go compete and feel out what this means. So we have been previously funded by Senate a few times. This year we did not get any other funding as we were trying to find ourselves grasping in other ways. So Model UN on the collegiate sphere tends to be a very, I do General Assembly, where we will be competing against 150 students against Ivy Leagues such as Harvard, Yale. We will even reach other interesting academies such as West Point and the Naval Academy with these competitions. And it has allowed me to be introduced to various people. We also As you can see here, we were very happy to win an award in Choman, which tends to be the oldest and biggest Model UN competition. For us, this is a very big reward, as we are, unlike other schools such as Harvard, Yale, FIU, and other bigger schools in the circuit, we don't get to compete every week such as they do. So being able to go to these small tournaments and engage ourselves in these competitions is very great for us and our ranking abilities and just the experience overall. Fusion One tends to be also one of our introductory ones for a lot of our students, as we want to make sure that this is a lower level, lower stakes for a lot of our newer students. Hawkman, as you can see over there, is our collegiate one. We were very proud to say we had over 120 students sign up and participate in our tournament. We try to engage, and we have hopes of making sure we can find other pathways to make sure that none of these students have to pay for their fees and become even more accessible to other schools in the area who may not have the funding for them to themselves come and compete. One of my general efforts right now is trying to contact a lot of people within the Kansas City Public School District for the Missouri side, as that I am in Kansas City, to further engage on that and make sure these students have the ability to come and compete with us. And now my vice president here will tell you a little bit about our budget and how that's currently looking.
So this semester and the next semester, the fall semester of 2026, we have a number of expenses that we're working on. However, this bill is specifically earmarked for our registration for Choman. As you can see, the registration fee for Choman is the exact number that we're asking for. That we are asking for this number specifically because this will directly benefit our members and benefit students of this university by enabling them to go to this conference without having to pay a registration fee. That for many other schools who are not able to get this funding and pay the registration, that their members have to pay a fee that can be $100, $200 to go to these kinds of conferences. And we want to be more accessible in that and really enable our members to go to this no matter what their financial situation might be. And this bill is mainly aimed at helping us pay that and helping us benefit students as best possibly can.
So I know a lot of these expenses look confusing, as it's like, okay, you're showing us a lot of numbers. What is this looking like? Of course, as my vice president clearly stated, we're only looking for the expense of the Choman registration, as most of our current allocated funds are trying to go towards our tournaments that we're trying to host. Hawkman is the one we're trying to make the most accessible, as it is one of our cheapest tournaments, and also it is the fact that we are able to interact with the general kids community, and we ourselves have members who have joined and come to KU simply because we were able to host this tournament. Other expenses is always one thing we were asked last time. The expenses kind of look like the breakdown of buying legal pads, printing things, and things of the sort. And I do my best to make sure we can host these things without any of my other members spending money out of their own pockets. I myself have to spend money in order to make sure that happened, which as a college student, I fear that did hurt my bank account a little bit. The KU one we are looking for outside. This one isn't necessarily something that will be able to be hosted at KU, as it is going to be a collegiate one. It will be the first time we host a collegiate conference, as the Midwest is severely underlacking in that. But that in itself is not the point of the bill today. Today we're focusing on our travel abilities. As we stated again, we want to make it as accessible to most of our people by avoiding student fees and making sure everybody feels welcome and able to compete. So, of course, that's just what we're asking here today. Thank you.
Additionally, we have other funding sources. We have done fundraisers. Past semester, we did 2. We actually have a fundraiser they're doing tonight. And we have also reached out to the poli-sci department. However, they don't really have as much funding as they used to. And it's difficult to secure some of these fees from the sort of accepted, where we normally get them. And this is why we've come here to ask for
My partner pretty much saying we have gone through other avenues in order to try to fund this. Our own school, as my partner stated, it was difficult, and we tried to pursue this the entire semester, and yet our final response after 3 months of work was a no. We don't have the funds to aid you, so therefore we are here to ask.
Answer questions. Thank you very much to our presenters. Answer questions. Yes, Chair recognizes Frederick.
Thank you so much for the presentation. With the fundraising that you're having tonight, will this figure change? Will it lower the amount that you're asking for?
I'm sorry.
The amount that you're asking for at the moment, is it subject to change with the ongoing fundraising that you mentioned?
There's been a question about fundraising. Presenters may answer.
Sadly, no, as most of the funds we're currently doing for is for sure for our Hawkmonth thing, Hawkmonth 5. So sorry. Hawkmonth 5 things, as it's going to cost us around $300 to book the union or another building around campus. And also, we're trying to make sure we can send a lot of our newer members right now to Hoosiermon. And we're trying to make sure we can get it to around a number of at least 10. And once again, as we're trying to reach its accessibility point, trying to help book any funding to get as many members out there as currently here and over there. So this one's more of like an aspect of like, I kind of want them to experience what a big conference looks like.
Chair recognizes Simran.
Thank you, and I apologize if you already stated this, but how many students are you sending to Choman?
Questions to ask about how many students to Choman. Presenters may answer.
Currently, our means allow us to take 10 members, which would currently be half of our active members. Bear in mind, we are trying to send at least the other half to one of these two conferences. So these numbers may change if we are able to come up with the funds ourselves, but for now, we are only able to send half our team through this version.
Any further yes, Chair recognizes Henry.
Can you provide some commentary on the benefits that Model UN can impart on its members?
Questions to ask about Model UN's benefits. Presenters may answer.
Of course. A lot of our members are interdisciplinary. A lot of them come from accounting, finance, engineering, poli-sci, philosophy, history. When it comes down to it, the engagement with interactions of people who are probably going to be in their area of work when it comes to international affairs is vital. A lot of my own personal contacts now have become students from FIU, Harvard, Chicago itself. And knowing this community is absolutely vital. I myself have been able to meet up with some people, and some of these people have told me that they are willing to come to our conference simply because we had the similar interaction and things of the sort. Not only that, but it allows us to open our avenues to other interactions that we're hoping to develop. As weirdly enough, a few weeks ago, I had one of the people who is part of the UN Charter in Kansas City reach out to me to try to see if we can vote and have our members work in it. We're trying to make this a long-term process and a long-term plan that we set up at the beginning of this year to make sure that we also have avenues to not only for scholarship, but as well as connections to internships and things of the sort.
Chair recognizes Alexis.
So I've got the website pulled up here, and it looks like the number that you guys are citing is $110, which comes from the late registration fee. Is there a reason why you guys are like using the late registration as opposed to regular registration?
Questions to ask about registration fees. Presenters may answer.
So as stated before, we were trying to find other avenues to try to get funding. Sadly, we were not able to come up with this because the original plan was to go through poli-sci, and we had assumed that they would be able to help us, as we were informed in the summer that this may be a pathway for us, and so we didn't want to have to go through this entire process. Sadly, when that fell out around December, even though our greatest efforts were done, we are now kind of forced in a situation where we're trying to find funding at the last minute.
Additionally, for the lowest funding you're looking at, I think it's called pre-registration. You have to qualify for it, so you have to actually email the team, and they usually give preference for this to teams that have been to this conference more. That we're technically in regular registration, but I do understand your concern.
Okay, we are out of time for questions to our presenters. Chair recognizes Iman Dominic.
Motion to vote.
Okay, we have a call to a previous question. We have a second from Eli. All in favor of ending debate and triggering vote, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All opposed, please raise your hand. With that, the poll is now live. You have 90 seconds to vote. Thank you very much to our presenters.
kind of ominous. Exactly.
Okay. With that, the poll is now closed. And with the results of 41 approved, 1 opposed, this motion clearly passes. Thank you very much. So we are done with our funding bills for this cycle. We will move into some other bills now. Aiden, did you want to present as amended or present OG? Did you want to present as possibly amended? I mean,
So Robert, you don't have to speak on the original one then?
no. You still have to motion to amend, though, to be clear.
So then we still have to speak on the original one?
No. But, like, you know what I mean? You just talk about the new one, and then first thing you want to do is amend. Just at the end, after questions. Okay, please turn your attention to CC Hunter and Aiden Faust to present on a bill that was tabled from last cycle.
Let me get it pulled up. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start by going over some context for the original resolution and then this amended version. Can everyone hear me okay if I stand and talk like this? Excellent. I love it. So Aiden and I originally talked in September about some of the pieces of resolutions and amendments that we perhaps wanted to do. And one of the topics that we had an overlap of interest in is training in the event of an active shooter on campus. In September, at the time of our conversation, we were under the misconception that that training did not exist. We ended up finding out that it actually does, which is the nature of our resolution and its amendment. In the original resolution, we were asking for training to be made and then for students, faculty, and staff to be recommended to take it. That training does in fact exist. Unfortunately, it is not something that is by any means commonly known. In fact, we were told by the Office of Emergency Management that only 12 clubs have completed the training since the new head of faculty took over it 4 years ago. I had the pleasure of speaking to someone named Kendall Friedman. He works for the KUPD, and he is in charge specifically of doing this training and training people to be able to do the training. The active shooter training that is available is exclusively in person. It is not an online interface. And when I spoke to him, I talked a lot about specifically our amended resolution and the feasibility of it. The biggest point of change that we made in the amendment is that we are specifically calling for a mandate of training for faculty and staff in the event of an active shooter event. As Mayor Brad laid out earlier, the event of gun violence is random, sure, but it is actively happening. And it's no longer just happening in elementary schools or middle schools or high schools. It's happening on streets as well. It's happening around the nation. Action is the first step towards prevention, which is why Aiden and I stand resolved with the purpose of this resolution. We talk a lot about what this mandate would look like, specifically about how we are asking the university chancellor to roll out this mandate for all faculty and staff. The reason why we specifically excluded students from it is because after some pretty lengthy talks, we felt like there are a lot of students on this campus who have experienced gun violence and active shooter events, either in high school or outside of the campus life. And most adults on this campus have not. Part of the issue that the Office of Emergency Management was talking to us about when we initially came up with the resolution was that they didn't have enough bodies to be able to do this training. Part of the reason why we tabled the resolution back in December was because we both wanted to take the time to talk to the Office of Emergency Management and see if that has changed. It has. The Office of Emergency Management is actively completing training so that they also can be instructors for this training module. When I talked to Kendall Friedman, he said that he had trained the athletics department within the last 4 years, and the athletics department has over 300 people. So the idea of this resolution is that there is no reason why all of the departments within the University of Kansas should complete this training. If there are trained adults in every single classroom and space on this campus, that means if there's an event of an active shooter on campus, there is someone who is able to respond to it. What does that response look like? Well, the training dictates methods of barricade. It also details the run, hide, flight. Is that the right word? Yeah, those 3 options in which to choose in an event. It also talks about how to de-escalate in the event that a shooter does enter a classroom space or is in a larger area. And it also provides training on how to respond if someone is injured. So if we have trained adults, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily responsible per se for stopping the bleeding of someone, but they're able to instruct others for how to do it. Aiden, do you have anything that you want to add to this?
Only thing I'll add is like the timeline of 5 years makes it so they have to train like less than 20 people per week. And in the context of where they can train 300 people at once, it's easily feasible in order to do this. And it's not going to be a huge financial burden on the university. And there will be no financial burden on the student senate since we will not be paying for this in any capacity.
So there's like no fiscal note required because this will not be exhausting any resources. It's merely asking our university chancellor to look at this training as it's being rolled out on a larger scale and asking its faculty and staff to complete the training so that there is a response to an active shooter event on campus. If there's anything I took away from the mayor's speech, it's that these things are happening and that they could happen. And that means that as students, I urge all of you to perhaps pursue this training in your own independent and individual lives, perhaps in the extracurriculars that you're in, perhaps even as a General Assembly, we could pursue that training ourselves so that we as students know how to respond. The biggest piece for me here is that we are having a conversation about it. Prior to when Aiden and I came up with this resolution, no one that we talked to really knew that there was active shooter training available through KUPD. And now that both of us know about it and are going to likely pursue this training ourselves, you all also know about it. And by being in the know, you can tell others to complete this training, which means that if this resolution is passed, the university chancellor looks at it, which fingers crossed, looks at it and says, ooh, this is a great idea. I'm going to do this. This means that by all of us being in the know, we can tell other students to do it too. So the mandate for students, that part like doesn't really matter here as much because hopefully we are the ones who are going to be generating the message of it being spread across campus. The final thing that I'll say here is like having an adult in the classroom who knows how to respond is the difference between a mass shooting event and an incident that never should have happened in the first place. We can't do much to combat the threat of gun violence because the legislators above us don't want to do anything about it. But we as a student body have the ability to speak for our students and say that this training should happen and that it must happen so we can protect our fellow students. Do you have anything else you want to add? I see the rest of my time.
Hands for questions, hands for questions, hands for questions. All right, we're going to start with Zach Lemke.
Zach.
Has there been any recent history of gun violence on campus?
Questions about recent violence and gun history. Your respondents may answer.
That's a great question. As made clear by Mayor Brad, there have been 3 incidents of gun violence / shootings within Lawrence within the last year. It is still January, so in the last month, there have been 3 incidents, all within blocks of campus. No, there have not necessarily been any reported instances of gun violence happening on campus at this campus. That does not necessarily mean that there will not be, and that also does not mean that there should not be a response to it if it happens. Aiden?
To add on to that, like there hasn't been gun violence on this campus, but there's been gun violence on campuses across the nation over the past few years, and we can't just wait until it happens here. We need to be proactive in our responses so we know what to do if it does happen.
All right, Chair recognizes Yvonne Dominic.
You had discussed the training and kind of the students having the access to it. Could you kind of go into detail about what exactly is included in the training? What is the format of it? Is it modularized? How long does it take to complete? And what does that look like?
Questions asked about the training. Recipients may answer.
I can start it and then you can finish it if you'd like. Yeah. When I talked to Kendall Friedman, he said that it takes about an hour to do. It's exclusively in person. There are a few videos that he shares with the group that specifically talk about, or it's the Federal Bureau of Investigations Run, Hide, and Fight response, and it shows like how to manage that. The training on this campus is specific to the Lawrence campus, so it talks a lot about how to evade a shooter that is on campus. It also includes proper ways to barricade classroom doors or larger rooms as well. There are a few other things that I know that I'm definitely forgetting, Aiden.
Something else I think is important to note is when you are doing the training, well, 2 things. You can ask questions at the end, which means any gaps that you think there might be for your personal experience, you can ask about and find out the answer. But the second part is beforehand, you can also request that can be like specific to a certain building. So if one department is primarily in Wesco, like I think the Spanish department would be, because that's where all their offices are, they can say, for Wesco, what are the things that we might need to know that might be different from a different building? So there might be different exits in Wesco than there might be in Bailey Hall or the Union. And I think that's part of what's great about doing it in person, that it can be customized to each group's experience.
And kind of jumping off of that point, when the athletics department did their training, they specifically did training for the event of a shooting at an airport, the event of a shooting while they're traveling. They also did it in the event of a shooting at the stadium or at the basketball place that I've been to because I watched that. All that jazz.
Valerie Boyd.
So as an RA, we do lots of trainings, and do we fall under this category of staff because we're also students? So I wondered if this would be implemented into what we do, as well as since it's an in-person training, we do training with KUPD already, and half of our training is online, half of our training is in person. So if this is exclusively in person, would there be a time to build this around for the staff to take it?
Questions asked on how this would interact with housing staff. Response may answer.
The truth is that if housing staff are included in the staff faculty aspect of this resolution, then therefore they would be, or there would be time allotted specifically for them to allow for accessibility. That's the purpose of our 5-year plan. A lot of what Kendall Friedman told me when I talked to KUPD last week is that they specifically build times in their schedules for you all. So they meet you where you're at. They meet clubs and activities where they're at. So whether that be say at the actual halls themselves, so that way they can talk about perhaps proper evacuation procedure, then that's what they would do. All they need is a room to be able to show their presentation and also do their displays and yeah.
I believe RAs would be included because it's essentially if you're receiving money from KU, not scholarships, but you're getting paid for a job, you're getting training.
Okay. Chair recognizes Eduardo.
Yes, how can students access this training?
Sure. Questions passed on how the accessibility of this training. Presenters may answer.
If you
If you go to the KUPD website, it includes methods for how you can get into contact and also sign up for this training. Kendall Friedman is a specific contact that I received, and if you email him directly, he can also make an appointment with you to schedule that time. It's super accessible and easy. It just isn't something that is as wide stream as it necessarily should be, especially in a time and era in which these shootings are happening. Like Brown University had a shooting over winter break going into the final season, and they lost 2 of their students because of it. That could easily happen on this campus, so that's why this resolution is so important.
Chair recognizes Maddie Atkins.
Hi. Have you guys considered to increase accommodations for students? I really appreciate that they're willing to do all these in-person meetings, but would there be a potential for like a Canvas course such as like the alcohol EDU or the sexual assault prevention training?
Question's been asked about accessibility again. Recipients be answered.
We initially talked to them about attempting to create a video course, and KUPD does not seem willing to create a video course at this time. But potentially, if they see the success of this program, we might be able to push them further. And this is a good jumping off point to use as leverage in the future to increase training for things like videos or other forms of training.
All right, this is time for our last question. We have time for Guinevere. Oh, great. Okay. That's all the time we have for questions. Chair organizes Ivana Dominic.
I'd like to make a motion to extend time by 2.5 minutes.
There's been a motion to extend time by 2.5 minutes. There's a second from Chris Cooper. All hands raised in favor of extending time. Ooh. Okay. We're gonna have a poll posted shortly on extending time for debate. Actually, I lied. We're just gonna have some. We're gonna just do some brief informal discussion on this. So yes, Chair recognizes Ivana Dominic.
Questions be asked during this time?
Yes. Request permission can be asked if they're brief.
I was curious if the authors had consulted with any staff or faculty members on their perspective regarding this resolution.
We both did. It's something that we talked about during councils that I would really like to go over it again. When we spoke to members of our professional experiences, so professors, my advisors, all of them said that this is something that they would definitely be interested in doing. They're surprised that it hasn't been done already. It's something that they think should be done, and it's not something that they knew actually existed until I brought it to their attention.
And something that I noticed when I was talking earlier is that KUPD said that this is more than feasible to complete because of the lengthy timeline and the amount of people that need to be trained.
Boyd? No. Great. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Or yes, Samara.
I'd like to make a motion to amend to add a recipient, Nelson Mosley.
So there's been a motion to amend the amendment. So we're gonna have you to withhold that first.
Motion to amend.
Okay, so there's a motion to amend the bill to the language that has been presented. This language you can see in the Teams file from CC100. There's a second from Ivana Stark. Okay, hands in favor of amending the bill as presented. Great. Raise those hands, raise those hands. All right, lower those hands. All opposed to amending the bill. Perfect. Okay, bill is amended to as presented. And then there's a subsidiary amendment made by the Chair of Rights to add a recipient, Nelson Mosley. Do we have a second on this motion? We have a second from Alexis Dominic. All hands up for adding. Yeah, we're not. Or motions. Are there any motions from the floor on this amendment, on this subsidiary amendment? The chair will look favorably upon a motion to.
Point of information. Nelson Mosley is the KUPD Chief of Police for anybody who doesn't recognize that name.
Tanya. Okay, there's been a call to previous question on this. All hands raised for the amendment or any discussion, possible debate, and voting on the amendment. Okay, great. Thank you. This is only on the no. Okay, this is only on the amendment. This is only on the amendment. Yeah. My bad, guys. Okay. So yeah, great. Hands in favor on the amendment. Hands in favor on the amendment. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Hands down. Hands opposed, raise your hand. Okay, that amendment clearly passes. So both of these amendments have passed and will be live edited right now. Okay, I'm looking for, yes, Tanya. Okay, so do we want to vote in discussion to vote on the bill itself? Raise your hand, yes. Yes, there's been a seconded by Lane. And okay, all opposed. Okay, with only one opposed, that will trigger a vote on the bill itself as amended. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, post it. All right, that poll is live.
Robert, should I sit down? Should I sit down?
Yeah. This is the bill itself, the bill itself as amended to be what they presented and to add KU Chief of Police Nelson Mosley. That's okay. We'll just we'll have to postpone everything else.
Whose world is this?
With that, hey, sorry guys, I fumbled with that procedure. We're good though. Please be silent and stop the activity in the chamber while we're voting. We do have a few more time on these votings.
Voting on the vote. Okay. Is it vote to vote?
Like calculus?
Oh, this is physics. I got that.
Responses. Poll is now. It's closed. It's closed. Okay. This approves unanimously. Thank you. Okay. So next we will be moving into our next piece of legislation, 2026-039, bill to amend 2610, as amended by Finance Council. Yes, Alex, Reed, please come up and present. Ready when you are.
Can I get the bill up there?
Yes, if you, yeah, I can upload. Okay. No, you're good, you're good.
All right. 2026-039 is pretty simple. As amended by Finance Council, the only effect that would be taking place in public membership would be clarifying point A about first meetings, clarifying that the voting rights afforded to all public members do not extend past the first meeting, and then adding point B, which is an absence allowance for people who have public membership, members of the public who are voting members in councils. And I yield for questions. That's about it.
Wow, answer questions on the public membership bill for councils. Ooh, okay. Oh, yes, Chair Organized Ivana Dominic.
What was your motivation for writing this bill?
I was motivated because I noticed there was a discrepancy between how procedure was done versus how procedure was written. That was the point in point A. This year, membership was given, or permanent voting rights were given after the first meeting to people, which affected cycle 3. The change in point A at least was to amend that to make sure that that didn't happen again. Point B was with after a conversation with the co-sponsor Nathan, we decided to add that because I know that there were people who were worried about this potentially getting or membership potentially being exploited for voting rights, especially on fee and finance council as we got later in the semester.
All right. Any other questions? See, yes, Mr. Word.
Yeah, the wording in part B of that, it says 3 excused absences or 2 unexcused. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, so it says 3 unexcused absences or 2 other way around. 3 excused absences or 2 unexcused. Is there anything in here about what happens if you have 1 unexcused and 2 excused?
It would be as soon as you surpass one of the two, you would be allowed to have 2 excused and 1 unexcused as long as you didn't surpass the threshold, either threshold there.
Okay, further questions? Any? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, do we have any motions from the floor? Yes, Alexis Dominic. We have a call to previous question. We have a second from Mia. All in favor of ending discussion and turning a vote on this bill, please raise your hand. Thank you. Please lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. With that, the poll is now live. You have 90 seconds to vote on bill to amend 2610. Order. With 39, this poll is closed. With with 41 approved. With it's unanimous. Okay, and that's also been reflected on the ledge tracker when the bills are amended. It's under a further row. With that, we go into our next bill, 2020-6047, a bill to amend 624 of the Constitution.
I'd like to motion to postpone this bill indefinitely.
Okay, there's been a motion from the author to postpone this bill indefinitely. There's a second from Tanya. There's a okay.
Would you like a reason?
Yeah, give a brief reason, please.
Okay, this is debatable, but I'll keep this short. There's been talk about moving elections earlier. If that's going to require an amendment, obviously. If we do that, we're just going to have to re-amend this anyway, because this is kind of in line with elections, and ballot referendums are also on the elections ballot. So that's the reasoning there.
All good. Okay, would you like to withdraw your? Yeah, please set down. Okay. Yeah. Great. So it's been motioned and seconded to suspend Bill 2026-047 indefinitely. Hands in favor for this, seeing no further motion on the floor. All right, all hands up for that, all hands down for that, all hands up for opposing suspending it indefinitely. On seeing none, this is suspended indefinitely. If it's not more than 2. Okay, so with that, we move into the next item on our agenda. Bill 2026-049. Please welcome Jillian Opie and Amara to the podium.
Okay, like you said, I'm Jillian. And I'm Amara.
Talk in front of the mic, please.
Oh, yeah.
Is it? Hold on.
I'll pull it if you guys.
Ready?
Okay, so the KU Student Senate Constitution in its current state cannot adequately serve its constituents because several organizations have an academic requirement written in their constitutions.
Our amendment eliminates this clause stating that organizations cannot have academic standards if they are to receive funding from the Community Development Fund.
We believe this change is necessary because the University of Kansas as an institution mandates a specific level of academic criteria, which is a 2.0 GPA, necessary to keep good academic standing at the university. Organizations should not lose their access to funding necessary to sustain themselves for upholding the same or similar standards as the university.
We feel it's hypocritical for us as a body to enforce a standard that the university holds each and every student to. Why are we hindering students that are academically excelling from obtaining funding from the Student Senate when one of our main goals is allocating funding to further student organizations and opportunities for the students in them?
So our primary goal and our inspiration for this bill was making sure that the MGC and NPHC could receive funding from CDF.
We've talked with 8 out of 8 of the KU's D9 chapters who have expressed their need for CDF funding and their current prohibited status from receiving funding because their constitutions had a GPA requirement. In our meetings, they were more than willing to make the necessary changes to their individual bylaws to accommodate Student Senate policy, which included making all chapter events open to the public. The one bylaw that is nationally enforced is a GPA requirement. Our amendment reaches these organizations halfway. We yield our time
the rest of our time.
Hands for questions. Hands for questions. Yes, Chair recognizes Ivana Dominic.
You had mentioned that this legislation would benefit a lot of the D9, NPHC, and MGC chapters. Are there any other non-Panhellenic or Greek life affiliated organizations that could benefit from this legislation?
Not that, I mean, I'm sure there are other organizations that have a GPA requirement, but we've only spoken to these just because that was our inspiration for the bill. So, yeah.
And these were the chapters that had specifically been asking for this funding and consistently got denied to the fact that they were in prohibited status. So they were the ones that we were focusing our energy on.
All right. Seeing no further questions, thank you very much to our presenters. Okay. Yes, you, Dominic. Okay, we have a call to previous question. Do we have a second? Yes, second from Valerie Boyd. All hands have been fair for ending discussion and voting on this legislation. Great. All hands down. All hands opposed to ending discussion and voting on this legislation. Seeing none, that poll is now live. You have 90 seconds to vote on this legislation. This poll is now closed with a result of 42 approved, 3 opposed. This motion clearly passes. Next on our agenda is Bill 2026-049, a bill to amend 7. Wait, no, this was 2026-049. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Next up, 2026-045, excuse me, a bill to amend various sections of the Constitution to clarify voting rights and membership roles. Please turn your attention to the Internal Affairs Director.
It's in Students Assembly.
Really?
Bill to amend IAD. Sorry, that was not a great title.
Oh.
Nice.
Okay, so there's a lot here, but we'll go pretty quickly. The first thing that this bill does is define ex officio membership. This is because there's uncertainty about the ability of non-voting legislative officers, which is like me and the elections commissioner, to make motions, raise points of order, things of that nature. So we put this back in. It was in the Constitution prior to 2021. There's a graph about the difference between ex officio and non-voting. All right, next, we talk about simultaneous membership. So right now, the Constitution does not prohibit members to hold both voting and non-voting positions, which allows for conflicts of interest, among other things. So we are getting rid of that. The next thing that it does is, right now in Robert's Rules of Order, presiding officers are allowed not only to break ties, but also to cause them. So we give them that right back. Next, council leadership. Right now, chairs and associate senators are granted voting rights in councils and assembly, and vice chairs and secretaries only have voting rights in councils. It's super strange, so we went ahead and gave voting rights to all ledge officers, and then this means that more people would be able to be in Senate because it would free up the roles. Say if you're vice chair and you're also a class senator, you could resign as a class senator and still have voting rights. Next is we take away the secretary's voting rights in councils. You should not have voting rights in instances in which you're taking meetings. I don't have voting rights here, and secretaries shouldn't either. All right, then we establish secretaries for various bodies like the EOF and CDF, and we make associate senator elections happen in the fall rather than the spring. This is something that we've already been doing because associate senators are a position that is designed for people who are new to Senate or new to KU. And if they happen in the spring, then freshmen or people who weren't in Senate like prior to this year don't get to run for associate senator. And then the bill does one more thing. I didn't finish the presentation, but we also kind of change around StudEx membership. I yield my time to the chair.
Answer questions. Seeing no questions, recognize Yvonne, Dominic, and Tanya.
I'd just like to ask a clarifying question. Could you elaborate on the StudEx changes that you just suggested?
Questions asked about student exchanges, recipient may answer.
Yeah, so first and foremost, we make the change between non-voting and ex officio. We also add some positions that weren't there before, like the outreach director, like they should have like access to having speaking rights on StudEx. And then we also add a few voting members. For instance, the chair of the elections commission, we feel that the judicial branch should like have a voice in StudEx, just things of that nature.
And Tanya. Oh, great. Okay. Seeing no further questions, thank you very much to our presenter. Motions from the floor. Yes, Anson. Okay, we have called the previous question from Anson. We have a second from Maddie Atkins. All in favor of ending debate and triggering a vote, raise your hand. Lower your hands. All opposed, raise your hand. Great. With that, the poll will be posted shortly. Thank you very much for your patience with that tonight. This is our last item of legislation on the agenda. And that is posted. You have 90 seconds to vote. Mhm. Order. Okay, this poll is now closed. With the result of 38 approved, 4 opposed, this bill clearly passes. So I recognize the chair of Finance Council.
I have a really quick announcement for everyone who filled out the survey. Thank you. If you have not, come up here. QR code right here. More importantly, I need a proxy for the first fee review hearings on Monday, February 2nd, here in Alderson Auditorium. If you are free from 2 to 3:30 p.m. and you are interested in transportation
Attention to the speaker, please.
if you are free on Monday from 2 to 3:30 p.m. and you're interested in transportation services or Jayhawk finances and you would like to come to the hearing, take notes, ask questions, come up here, talk to me.
Okay, and now, sorry. Please stay seated while we conduct roll call.
Okay. Lee. Garrettson. Sullivan. Bourne. Suter. Ware. Shelton. Henning. Stockwood. Lou. Opie. Harris. Hoshaw. Morse. Bernstein. Amara. Schmidgel. Green. Fry. Hardesty. Hess. Faust. Lawson. Nicholson. Ellis. Atkins. Henson. Oyapia. Crepes. Baldwin. Black. Alexis Dominic. Rome. Montgomery. Gardner. Limke. Rivera. Gerbetzidig. Benuelos. Suarez. Ritter. Castro. Singh. Yingling. Robinson. Brooker. Mosier. Beasley Murray. Flemons. Young. Stark. Hunter. Harrington. Haney. Hunt. Paredes. Lamping. Lopez. Viala. Belay. Coblin. Tran. Boyd. Dockney. Ortega. Cooper. Monty. Chapin. Dominic. Melee. Right.
Okay, with that, we're looking for truly looking for a motion. Yes, Burker, yeah. All right, motion adjourned from Burker, second from Rome. No objections. We are adjourned at 9:31. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Wait, what's your name? Paragon. stopped it, I got you. Okay, I think someone was asking me a question. And I just, but thank you. Yeah. I know. Yeah, I saw. And you have to resign now. So, later. Or maybe there's not. I don't know. Hey.
Still have any time anymore?
We'll print new ones.
We have a fixed adjournment when everyone votes to adjourn early. I was going to oppose and then make us vote.
That'd be funny.
Sean, resign.
I started the job. I'm so excited to tell you all.
I sent it to you literally the minute the bill passed.
Okay,
Are you started at? So the
I
just opened this.
IB. It's better. It's
not in class, and I'm also not.
their situation is kind of
So
bad.
not
right
my
now. Great for me. Bad for them. So
Yeah, I don't know.
I got